audit na ya ni nemu no ena e de abepie ha say 1,347 containers ayira. Because remember, Nansia ni de jakpa. Nansia ni de atofo go gina court. Godfrey Dame MPP Afenyo Markin mugina parliament ka say atofo sinkra eje instructions every ni boss se tekpe ho and or sign document na ambulance ni ba ya yenchi jakpa yenchi atofo sin na yenjeli omo. Afenyo Markin said it in parliament. Now and yanko straight to Kasongo 99 ECG asamaba. Now ECG no yabete yesi containers bia ECG de ba Ghana containers no 1,347 ayira. The current energy minister Mr. John Jinapo abeka che Ghana for say sa containers we ayira. Di obeto ye no e kire say MPP abreso na sa containers ni nyina ayira. Now and the minister eti committee bi. Now oti committee no or taski almost omunye investigations into ECG any containers ayira any the crime akoso. Yani we are always ahead of everyone. We have been able to intercept the investigations report 103 pages, 103 pages, and what's our reporting? The report has 103 pages. This is the report. Investigative reports on Electricity Company of Ghana's container holdup at Temaport and related procurement issues. That one made a report for the first time in Ghana. Minister because hey, Kevin Taylor be hard guy, yeah. Because baby I'm printing report, baby I'm printing, me wakwala bi wo ho. Enti report man printing or dem nko am printing no baby there, me wakwala wo ho. So minister na anadwo because Eii Ade me kutema me pese obi abehu no. Report no has 103 pages. Report no it is packed. Me be show part bi o report no. Me wi na ma publish amamo. Asiafo MPP for na mudi omochi. Afenyo Markin is a criminal. Politics mu per this report no. He's a criminal. Per this report, per this investigative reporter, John Jinapo, the Minister of Energy, Eka say committee ni no per the mehuno report no Afenyo Markin is a thief. He needs to go to jail. It was the same Afenyo Markin was telling us to say the finance minister Atofosina or J instructions free the boss tekwe ho sign a document. Afenyo Markin was in parliament saying say yenjeli Atofosin who even took permission. And the boss back court Becca say yes, I instructed him. No, Afenyo Markin was saying say yenjeli ato kwasia. Afenyo Markin today onuna or initiative Torkornoo. He needs to go to jail. He's a thief or a dirty, despicable, filthy thief. Nobody should pay attention to that idiot. Now, my dear, the minister said something in parliament.
As Minister for Energy and Green Transition, currently my vision is simple. I want all the 1,346 containers accounted for. 1,346 containers. Whatever it takes, I'll bring those containers to where they ought to be. Mr. Speaker, let me set the record straight. And if my good friend, Professor, will listen to me, there's not been any inconsistency. At the transition committee, Honorable Yarga was there. They gave us a figure of 3,000. Then they told us it had incurred demurrage of 1.5 billion. I was sworn into office on the 17th. On the 24th, I visited the harbour. At the harbour, I was told the containers were 2,500. That is what aroused my suspicion. I didn't say at the harbour that the containers are 2,500. I couldn't have counted 2,500 containers instantaneously. And so from 24th, I went to brief the president on 27th. And by 31st, I had established this committee. There was media coverage. And we took Professor Senyo. He's a chartered procurement expert. The report was submitted just this week. It was during the presentation of the report that the committee told me that contrary to the figures they were giving you, over 1,300 containers cannot be accounted for. These are the facts and nothing but the facts. Mr. Speaker, these are the facts. So those who are on social media and trying to play the political game, let me assure you, it will not deter me. Yesterday, when President Mahama called me, his message was simple. Jinapo, you have my full backing, go the full throttle. And that is exactly what we are doing. We've already arrested some Chinese nationals. We are on the trail of some Indian nationals who have bolted. But you know, this is a house of record. And so I'm being very, very cautious. I've received a lot of briefing. And I'm getting to know those who are behind it. This has been going on for years. I will stop that, and it will stop right now. Mr. Speaker, it's not just going to stop. We shall retrieve the containers of the materials. We shall prosecute the perpetrators, and we will prosecute the perpetrators, and we will sell the rods to recover the cost.
That is your able energy minister. I say, time I'm taking over no. Figures are MPP for the Maomono. It was wrong. A corporate who said no. Figures some of the more papers no. It is not what he's seen at the port. So he went back and said, no, I want to know more. In fact, from what you told me at the transition meetings, Oka said the colleagues no more 3,000, or could report it wasn't 3,000, it was 2,500. And I said, no. It means more work needs to be done to get to the bottom of it, because at the transition level, MPP forecast said 3,000. You better report 2,005. Also, on to me, and also, and can containers 2,005. And Oka said an audit must be done. Audit na yani nemuno and the ABP has said 1,347 containers. Aira. Now, so 1,347 containers. Aira. Then I was here as a nation. Because remember, Nansia near the Jakpa, Nansia near the Atoforce go in court. Godfrey Dame, MPP, Afenyo Markin Parliament, say Atoforce in Kra, Edge instructions, every the boss said take ho, and or sign document na ambulance by ya, Yanchi Jakpa, Yanchi Atoforce, na Yanjeli or Afenyo Markin said it in Parliament. This was Atoforce who took instructions from his boss, said Tekpe. And no, Afenyo Markin can say it is important we clean the system and we make sure corruption is uprooted. And so I won't take the air canasia ECG chrono na costono from 2022. Maybe I show the report investigations no what they uncovered or what they discovered. And before I start, now you see this man. Your friend Afenyo Markin. The leader of the pigs or the piglets minority in parliament. Sir man Afenyo Markin we Ekufuado appointing say Onina Mbeye Dieng board chair of ECG July 2024. Now before Afenyo Markin appointing another man we know your friend Kelly Gajepo. Man, we say na the first day Ghana 14 din na ya mena me boni din e PDS scandal so. PDS energy, PDS Ghana electricity deals about umiako sign ye over $500 million omudi ye Gabi Ochedako me born audio bumpty any de ayensumo PDS na me break in collaboration with Herald newspaper Larry Dogbe you break PDS a save Ghana scandal. This man Kelly Gajepo, me body din first Emma Ghana for who say nipa bi sa e Ghana. Ono na ye ECG board chair. Mysteriously April 19, 2024, right before election, April, and also are resigning. Ghanaians asked Kelly Gajepo, say, why have you resigned? What am I reason? Also are resigning as the board chair of ECG. Oko ICGC. We a reform kwa. ewi phone kwa e wa na kanofori atasoko almost of ni e papa no curtains no I friend Mensa Otabil no the osha curtains na o de keka nsem hunu no political pastor no ono na ye ma boy bi ko jail okotena e bank board so omko wie sika e ma young man bi ko jail sa man your friend Mensa Otabil. He was part of that board that mismanaged the bank's money for a young man, innocent man, to go to jail, for him to still be practicing and taking offering every Sunday. Your friend Mensa Otabil. Now, sorry, Bani. So, Keligajapo, April 9th, and also on Jumani BM, he's resigning as the board chair of ECG. Ya born busani bibia. Ya born busani say, Kelly. I'm sorry, my team, they are sending me something. Ghana for Busa Kelly, say Kelly. Now, I would say, my team is sending me information, but they want me to slow down and let people know something. Busa man will say, why are you resigning? One can't. You are the board chair of the ECG. Also, on my reason. Into man we're resigning, you know, and a year Ekufuado, I can say, Afenyo Markin, the businessman, go and replace Kelly Gajepo, ECG. So Afenyo Markin took over July 2024. Naka beye 5 months, ni atuaba. Technically, naka 6 months, na yakoto aba 2024. And Afenyo Markin, ekot name as the board chair of ECG. Remember, Afenyo Markin, they be original parliament, also or your businessman. So Ekufuado told Afenyo Markin, who is a businessman, to go and head ECG as the board chair. Remember, Afenyo Markin, the client in Canadian Japan, who was supplying electricity, equipment and light, energy stuff to ECG. So the businessman, whose client is also a businessman, has been given the job as the board chair of ECG. Afenyo Markin, the client in Canadian Japan. Canadian Japan so ya manizikam rebi so on supply street light Emma ECG sikana ma light na ma ene ti ha ene kufu ade se akwa we eye Afenyo Markin enko lead ECG. Remember Afenyo Markin ko lead ECG no nipa na oye MD of ECG your friend Dubik Mahama mebeka boy we asam che before elections. Dubik Mahama onina from 2022 oye MD managing director of ECG ABC. Before elections, September and I also are resigning. Dubik Mahama, no, I am MD of ECG. September 25th, also nye jumani bi wejai. Yebusan said, what are your reasons? Also, only reason biya. And I will so work it out. Before election, because I said this boy is a thief. Ka biya opero Ghana biya boy we will be. O to me to send the panel do woko monako no akwa any birthday. This boy got to the sandbox na onum wi ni jota. I saw a bottom. This boy, I came to tell you people where he will go to jail. Now, boy, we are kwatena baby did me matter. Dubik Mahama on na MD from 2022. Otna wa bedru ha. You do September pe also on your money. What was your reason? No reason. Wejai. Oh yes, sad. I will show you his properties. Girls are on your mawo or girl be or what top down to be my girl be UK. This boy. Me so be a time eba. Now, yanko issue neso. So, in Kofi, they took over and they were there at ECG. After Kelly Koyeno, na Afenyo Markin, any day, or ne Dubik Mahama, and more running things. Remember, Ghana Mremuno, Oko state-owned enterprises, government institutions. There's a reason why they be a MD. And now you CEO. Se board no anka say yengi CEO entum and so board na endorse ya. CEO do krampo no the human to me start. Anything and the Mahama yi so many CEOs as we are sitting here now, they are waiting for board approval. Into board do the board is there to check a MD, to check CEO. The board is the last stop to stop corruption. Because the board ne be corrupt it means to say the whole agency is a mess. Every time when you are picking a CEO, make sure you are picking the right board. Because a CEO, no, any board in the connive, naka some way damage or me finish him, and be na ABAJ, any Godfrey Dame, because ABAJ time and all procurement as the manager, no, not Godfrey Dame as the attorney general, not procurement board. So, in the idea ABAJ, you know, Godfrey Dame was sanctioning it. ABA mono, mon check is anyomano. ABAJ chrono board of procurement authority, no. Godfrey Dame was on the board of procurement authority when ABAJ was bringing documents for them to endorse. Because now Godfrey Dame and ABAJ, they have connived, no mere partners. And Oboa ABAJ money, yes, our deals. The same applies to the ECG. Without the board, the MD or whoever is the manager or whoever cannot. There's no checker. ECG must sign without the approval of the board and more importantly, the board chair. When we talk about a board chair, ECG board chair, no check or no contract can be signed between ECG and a private individual, a government, or anybody without the board giving a green light. The board, it is the last stop to stop every corruption. So when you are the board chair of ECG, you are basically the last stop of corruption, and whatever happens at ECG from the top, you have to give green light for it to go on. You cannot tell me as a board chair, say, ECG, I could sign a 2 million deal. You have no idea about. You are lying. No. Then you have to come and prove that whether that issue was brought to board or not, whether the person who signed that 2 million deal actually informed the board or did it on their own. So, as far as the ECG, the board chair and the MD who was there, they have to come and answer questions. Maybe a MD and maybe a board in him. Maybe a board in him, maybe an MD in him. It is only through Jakpa investigations and yebehu nipa owia yesika. Are you following? All right, my make sure I there. Now you be reporting him. And the make sure documents. And the make sure documents. Memo who had good enter Afenyo Markin. So be parliament be kasa muntu ntosungu so. He's a despicable human being. So any girlfriend and friend I won on and I would too no. Metren be your tinne. Ne yeren ko Afenyo Markin. You Afenyo Markin, I've been watching you. Yeah. Uko teshia. Oni girl be a two wo your friend awu. Wakoto diama girl. What Afenyo Markin? Oji say oni nyansama. Oji say you can destroy people. Oji say you na Jimmy. And you take Ghana. I'm a politician. I'm a businessman. Who came to say bodam for. Oga na ote awo. But in the picture, I didn't the picture about Bechema or Yirehu. So I teach mansion or Kotama girl no she teach one awo. But the o picture Bechera or Yireno. Namre and Kwaram Yurina ma won actually or Yireno. Send the bad any pan of awo. So me say Mitianam Kwa or Rianchaya, nobody chira and your bad. It's Mama or Yirehu Kwaram Yuno. I won't Kwarano. Teshi. Ah, Wagria was a gun of when you Jimmy. Unim Bonia Wedi Unim. And now we are nyansa. Now, do you know something? The board chair Afenyo Markin and the Assembly of Parliament. And it's a mekajo say Afenyo Markin is guilty. Onim so abokrono, onim so say jailino. But he's playing some game. He's playing a psychological game. And the Afenyo Markin sorry of Parliament. Oh, Assembly AC wo ECG ne krampo de. Anka NDC and people we should come together and make sure we solve the problem. Now the problem is the GP, Gapoha people, and people who work at the port. And now, NDC, or no, any MP, they should come together and go after civil servants. Oboa. He's playing on the conscience of Ghanaians. He knows he's guilty. This is the same Afenyo Markin who was telling Ghanaians to say, ato force na, at the end of the day, the boss man, permission to sign the document, and the ECG contains 1,347 naira. Afenyo Markin has sort of parliament. Says, oh, we all have to be patriotic. Oboa. He knows he's guilty. Afenyo Markin Afenyo Markin stole millions and billions from Ghanaians through ECG per the report I have. Into or play Sane Kasongo strategy, Suddenly, waba parliament. Oh, we all have to fight together and make sure whatever is happening at ECG, it's an institutional problem. It is the bureaucracy. You were the immediate board chair. Listen to Kasongo.
ECG. I had the privilege of chairing the board in July. Because I'm a businessman, the first question I ask myself is that how can ECG award a contract And when the contract is awarded, all the person does is deliver at the port, present bill of lading, and request for payment. I said, with the greatest respect, I don't want to use a word. This is Parliament. I was shattered. I said, how? And ECG would have to pay. So I realized that ECG was paying a lot of bills when they have not even had access to the goods. And when you ask them, I asked the procurement manager, director of procurement, a question. I said, why did he say, oh, chairman, this is the practice since. This is the practice. And they will bring you document. I listened to honorable member for Secondary, lawyer, you from Secondary, question meeting. And I am adopting his submissions as though they were mine. The time has come. This politics, somebody says MPP, NDC, it's a system problem that I will any day support this minister to embark on reforms. How come containers at the ports, containers that have arrived, the bureaucracy at our ports, they say the containers are missing. Mr. Speaker, it is true that when these containers come, there is some connivance with some customs officials, and they sell these containers, these cables that ECG needs after the supplier has been paid. They sell the container, and then people resell back to ECG. Are we pretending we don't know? Instead of us to pay attention and kill the rots, then we come here, then MPP, NDC, so now they say, oh, maybe it's happening under MPP, it's happening under NDC. No. An honorable minister, I know what you can do. If we can give you support to do it, you must adopt a posture, a non-partisan posture, and tackle the rots. But if we all want to approach it, MPP, NDC, Mr. Speaker, it will remain. NDC will spend 4 years, 16 years, 20 years. The same thing will be there. They will come into opposition, and the same thing would arise again.
Oh, what he's trying to do. At this point, from the Ono cannot just say, oh, Nimrod and Koso, as the board chair, he went there. The question is, what did he do about it? So it is clearly negligence and deliberately causing financial loss to the state. Per his own statement, when he took over as the board chair, and he's giving us even more details than we know, meaning he has more information than all of the people in parliament. So Afenyo is the first person to assist the government in investigating this matter. Because you say you're a businessman, you became the board chair, and that you have noticed a problem. You have noticed corruption. You have noticed people are scamming Ghanaians. Your job as the board chair, you took an oath to be the board chair, is to protect the public purse. So what do you need to do? Immediately you stop it, you write a report, you open investigations, you get people taken into custody to make sure the system is protected. He looked on, he joined the party, he joined the prostitution, he fucked the girls, he became part of the crime, he turned into a virus, he is now killing people, and he steps out to come and tell us that we should all come together and be killed by AIDS. You are mad. Oh, bodam. It is NDC MPP. Today you want collaboration. No. We are fighting this war of corruption as Ghanaians, irrespective of which political party you belong to. NDC is in power. If you are an MPP and you have caused a problem, you need to be jailed. Into a general parliament, you know, he's playing mind games. Oh, where there a Ghana problem? Kwasia, da bena who say, yeah, Torkornoo ECG a Ghana problem. A MPP na cause a problem, no. Who as the board chair who led the corruption, because Sanka ECG, Yeka say, Anka John Abujina Pobekachere say, ECG was able to make a revenue of $100 billion. Kakwasia, Utru Kro, Kawabejina Parliament, say, yeah, you know us. We, Mr. Speaker, we are the minority. When we were there, Kwasia, criminality about the we should come together as a unit. No. We want to stand individually and deal with the problem. You think you are a smart politician, dirty riffraff. And I want you to understand, you have to go to jail. What's the Ghana and out to parliament? And now we use unkwasianyansa de dankofo. And you think say everything is about politics. Every day I'm a businessman. Every day I'm a businessman. And I wish a business the politics and now we are Ghana. All the things we were saying in parliament, 99% of Ghanaians did not know. So if the corruption has happened or happened under you, under your leadership, and you did not do anything about it, then it means this is pure negligence. It means you knew the crime was ongoing. When also a lawyer. So if you have an idea of a crime, and at the end of the day, we find out that you knew about the crime, what makes you? You are a criminal. You are not even supposed to stand in our parliament to even discuss Ghana's issues. Also, we are doing boxing, we are doing poso, 99. You are a filthy liar. Now, me say, you see, Freemason for the intelligent, honest people in the Freemason. Now, what made you get into that Freemason? So today, Freemason, they are employing criminals. Is this the Freemasonry thing? Now, idea ugina okay. So ugina u Freemason yangu po enim na o kan kwasi story we a. Ugina sa u Freemason yameno obemu ewura Freemason heaven. This guy is an embarrassment. He was trying to play on the conscience of Ghanaians. When did we start to fight corruption as NDC MPP together? No. We are fighting corruption. We are fighting people who have been involved in corruption. So at this point, it's not about NDC being power or MPP being power. It's about who were involved in this crime. And you, the board chair, Afenyo Markin, you oversaw the criminality for all these months and you did not say a word. Today you are in parliament telling us that you know all that is happening and you didn't take any action. Go and read your rules, the rules governing the board that you were on. You are a liar. Afenyo, you are a filthy, dirty liar. You are a corrupt, dirty criminal who calls himself a politician. Per the report I have seen. You are a thief. You have stolen from Ghanaians. Now let's go into the report. Team, stay with me. What do you say, Jimmy Bejinabaye and we all and the bureaucracy, boddamcracy. Mommy and you report to him. What Ghana na we answer say what's how they be Ghana for sika. Now look at this. Moment kind report no. Report na me de be kire no. The whole Ghana obia any report no. Now this man too was the man who was in charge of procurement. In fact, answer na me call report no. Me church obia mu. Now one, this man is Keligajepo. Ono NNA board chair. Edu baby also a jai board chair juma no on your board chair or ECG biom. Yebusan reason also on can and a kufu adi no and Afenyo Markin be share ho. Afenyo Markin so be share ho no and from July see the end of kufu adi's tenure or the board chair of ECG. This guy, your friend Deacon Mahama, on an MD, managing director of ECG. Torkornoo course on an MD. He was collaborating with the board chair to make sure ECG is run. Ufriwa, this man, they made him this man, they made him the procurement boss. This man, the background and your procurement. His background was into housing and other things. But what they did was that his background was in estates, any housing or ECG. They moved this man, they merged procurement and merged those two offices, housing and procurement. And I'm the share man we inside. Man, we want to calculate an 10 digits on to me yet. He knew nothing about calculations. He knew nothing about procurement. Afenyo Markin and for a specific reason. It's a Oduro also I wanted you to know the actors in this scandal. But the lead actor is Afenyo Markin, the leader of the 88 piglets, the MPP minority. Moja, mobatino position a che. Moye wifo. Munim nyansa. Now, momianko reporting him. Gigim the whole Ghana Obiang will report to it. This is the first time you are seeing it. Every Ghanaian because we want you to know the truth. All right, so it's time to do the scandal. Team, stay with me. Obia share because I'm the this is the report, investigative report on Electricity Company of Ghana's, that's ECG's container holdup at Tema Port and related procurement issues. This for Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. Prepared by Technical Committee, March 2025. And this report Ghana, we are ahead of the Energy Ministry. Minister, how did Kevin get this? Because I control Ghana, the media space. I have over 77 people on the ground Ghana. There's nothing I want. I'm in Sanka. And whatever we get, yen fire and Sanka, the raw detail no. So this is it. Now, so we read the report now. You get to a session where so much detailed finding. Report here 103 pages, 103 pages. Andrew and Ajo, myself and my team, we were on phone the whole night, about 4 hours. We read through it and made sure we ticked every single, crossed every T and dotted every I because we wanted to know all the facts. 103 pages. Not a kind document to come and break down for Ghanaians to understand. Into Oduro page 4, you will be a friend. Detailed findings. Say, report to we na me water marking am the two system ni ma energy ministry ni ba omombra magasa me boa. These are the facts. Bibia ni ma obi abetu makase a contest wo Ghana. Now let's move forward. Yenkan ade bi wa ha. We are going to read and explain. Oko page 20 in the report. Key decisions that led to the container hold up at the port. These are the key decisions. The container hold up after the committee investigations, nyabotre obeti ase obewon MPP omoya before kwasiafo. We need to jail all of them. Now 4.1.1 key decisions that led to the container hold up at the port. 1. ECG decided to use costs, insurance and freight as their preferred Incoterm in engaging local suppliers of foreign goods, requiring that ECG clears the containers upon arrival at the port. 2. These are all the key decisions leading to the hold-up. 2. To facilitate this, management decided to set aside and transfer 5 million Ghana cedis each week into a shipping account to be used by the shipping department in clearing ECG containers that arrive at the port. Into ECG, eyo madwene say, eyo containers are omo de beba nyina omo be yi no, omo bie a department. And omo yo madwene say, almost every time biano omo di sika betum 5 million Ghana cedis. Now that department where your investigations the omo uncover and make kind sure mess up back. Sad department na ECG department bia. All that they did was they were putting 5 million Ghana cedis in it. Send you beya every time omo container bed report na no ma clear. And that was basically to sit down every week biano near their tomb. Container bedru ya ECG ship container bia bedru ya na no ma clear. They didn't want to incur any debt at the port. In the investigations, omo say there was a department like that. Omo ECG edisikatum every time. Debiano sika dem 5 million Ghana cedis. It contain a new bed report na no my den omoyi yanko enim. Now okay point 3. Now remember, 5 million Ghana cedis no na every week. Every week be na ECG transfer 5 million tum. Enya 1 month, enya 2 months, enya 3 months. Every single week na ECG 5 million Ghana. Normally akoto sa department na account nim shipping department no. Omo de omodwuma nyina ne say every week be 5 million ba be dem. Normally clear ECG goods at port. Enti ECG was never supposed to encounter anything like demurrage. Say ECG port a ship and a container abeka Tema port na ECG nyesika nyi because there's always money sitting and waiting. Yanko enim. Now, point 3, this is page 20. You about published document now, mama. Point 3, the committee noted that this initiative greatly assisted with containers being cleared without them piling up at the port. Inti Omo who say in the investigations, no, Omo who say 5 million the 2 week biara na eboa emomo ye dey omo tumi eyi omo nyoma free port wano abra Ghana emboka. Point 4, page 20. However, management in 2022, omo say emom afi eye 2022 no, BBC management no stopped transferring the 5 million Ghana cedis into the designated shipping account. Almost suddenly, 2022, ECG management led by Dubik Mahama, that time not Kelly Gajapo and a board chair, they stopped moving money into the shipping account. Sa account na every week bia omudi sika tum 5 million Ghana every week tum send a ECG container be drew porter omeyi fast no every week no 2022 no mujaye Dubik Mahama na MD Kelly Gajapo and a board chair. Suddenly they stopped. Now the question is so mujaya wa wo hwe idea ne besi. It means to say ECG containers be drew porter. They cannot clear it as frequently as they used to, meaning there's going to be backlog. It means containers are going to pile up. Because the moment you stop the flow of money, it will be clear goods. Every container that comes to be, it will be stuck. Now the question is, why did they do that? Page 20 in the investigative report. Point 5. The containers then started piling up at the port due to the unavailable funds to clear them. Into 2.5, the containers started piling up after Dubik Mahama or MD or Kelly Gajapo any board decided to say they did not give any reason, they stopped. So the containers started piling up. Now point 6, the Material and Transport Directorate raised the issue at a management meeting but received the response that there were no funds. You see, Transport Directorate no more ECG at a management meeting not Dubik Mahama or MD nitiwo and a transport for na share a shipping and logistics no maso raise say boss 5 million na de be to a shipping account no say sika no mo jaitua your containers so air pile up Omubusa Dubik Mahama ewo management meeting no o se sika ni ho obi anfa no jimi nkoda sika ni ho enti omu pushi ye Dubik Mahama says sika ni ho omu free onko no a and omu so ye din. Let's move forward. Now go point 7. The Material and Transport Directorate wrote at least 3 memos appealing to management to release funds to enable them to clear the containers. However, no response has been received from management regarding these appeals. Inti transport for no almost any transport directorate for no they kept pushing. At least they wrote about 3 letters. Ekoma management and not Dubik Mahama Edano say, boss, the containers are piling. We are incurring losses. We are incurring debt. Ghana for bre Sikano air pilo or ekeba. Dubik Mahama receiving the 3 letters all told them he does not have any money to give them. He ignored them. Kelly Gajapo was the board chair. Mi jujum amount. Sena baya ochina kakobi ana kwasiebi embeka se kwasiebi ana kakobi metina radio so mbeka se ai na NDC for mi jujum. Now yanko enim. Let's go to page 21. Sorry. Hey, I've gone ahead of myself. Yanko page 21 in Samuel Dawson. Ubemu point 8. This is still the investigative report. This is the first time. Minister, you must I can tell a fucking guy. Yes, I control. Now, point 8. The same investigative report. I'm say. In as much as the containers kept piling up with resultant demurrage coupled with management excuse of the unavailability of funds, ECG through the management director continued awarding new CIF contracts without using competitive procurement methods, requiring the payment of 90% of the contract sum when the supplier submits the shipping document. Now, Procurement Transport Directorate for Pushia Dubik Mahama Eka se sikeni wono. The same time ana containers na pile no. Na ECG through the board Kaligajapo air board chair and the big Mahama ECG director no. They were still giving a year contract to companies to be shipping containers or more things to Ghana. In fact, they were basically giving them 90% funding for assuring them to bring it. Inti Ghana for na say we are piling, nyoma pilot, Kaligajapo, any idea, do big Mahama says the same time no, they were still telling shippers to bring more containers. Busangosa, why? Because the ones at the port, your Transport Directorate for the say, we don't have money. We need to clear them. They are piling up. We are paying demurrage. Still, also winning funds. But you are able to still contract companies to bring more containers. This is what the investigators, auditors, the investigations, this is what they came to see. So, I say, Obi ye BB. 1, Sikana also declare your port, I stop it, Mbabium. 2, Omo in charge of clearing of the goods, air catch the MD say, management, your nyomane pilot, a keba, demurrage chair, or this skinny. 3, the same time as the one, do big Mahama management and still air shipping your at the ba a yeteba port. Why is it so? Because I want to add intra. Let's move on. Now, point 9. Listen to point 9. Per custom laws, consignment that are not entered for clearance after 21 days of discharge at the port are registered under uncleared cargo list, UCL, and therefore become the property of the state. Almost say, during the investigations, who say, Embra or why say, container, ebe ditema port. Now after 21 days, nipa na or ship container ne buy no, when to man clear container na, automatically, sa container ne ebe ye Ghana dia. It becomes a property of the state. And in this case, it's a state agency that basically imported these containers. Until right now, 21 days, the state agency has not paid to clear the containers. So it has become a state property. Into technically, Ama Manasha de Guo and a demurrage action and a still almost shipping more deba. Now, Mamin Kobe Nim. It says, oh, team. Okay. Now, when you read the point 10, this is what it says. Containers that remained uncleared for a period of time attract demurrage charges payable to the shipping line. Inti, so containers in the report wa. Na say 21 days. Na so obi ambe year. Sa shipping line na ebia Temaport companies na omu hosti containers na esi o masase so no. Omu keep containers no. Now demurrage no was say boa o containers every single day bia no it builds up. E kano almost store container na you need to pay basically to make it easy for you shipping line and our companies now a host o container na say container ni si o masase so port one you have to pay every day for not coming to clear your container. The big Mahama knew. ECG board led by Kaligajapo as the board chair, they knew, they still ignored. They were still shipping containers outside Ghana coming to the port even though they knew they had hundreds of containers sitting there attracting demurrage. They didn't care. They were still shipping in containers. Dubik said there's no money, but they are still ordering more things to be stuck at the port. Why is it so? Somebody is doing something. There is a plan. Point 11. The number of containers on UCL kept rising with exponential increase in demurrages. Into omo who say afedie containers no ba na eba ECG a onyi containers no ba na eba ECG so a mo an omo kra e na abegu na demurrage action e na sika ne kosoro. Dubik Mahama does not care. Kaligajapo, who was the board chair, did not care. Now the question here is, why do you think they know that containers are piling up and they are still shipping containers back? Why do they know, say, the containers are attracting demurrage? Why do you think they didn't do anything about it? The answer is in the pudding. There's a plan. There's a game. They know what they are doing. They are piling it for a reason. Now let's go to point 12. By December 2024, the number of ECG containers on uncleared cargo list UCL had totaled 2,491. Say at the end of December 2024, no, not Dubik Mahama, crack containers is 2,941 in the support war. Clear any guho. Busa say why? Sa containers see a good port way. Where investigations now, John Jinapo, Emma, a committee, no, this is their findings. Why do you think they are doing that? Why are they not concerned? Because it is looking more like Demurrage no mutual crumple. At the end of the day, it could be say a bit to make your containers 100,000 times, but they are leaving the containers there to attract more debt. I didn't know more, yes, sir. Now let's go on. When you get to point 13, point 13, this is what it says. Management wrote to the Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority for restoration and request was subsequently granted. Inti management as actual letter comma GRE per restoration and a GRE that time na Ekufuado Nipano Amishadai ananyonwa na sa Kronfona and Abianya Amishadai akwebina na when we do retirement na Ekufuado sa extending they kept that guy there and that guy restored that guy granted that. Now read point 14 there's something there, let me show you. Point 14 in the investigative report or see the Materials and Transport Directorate initiated negotiations with the shipping lines with respect to waivers of demurrage cost and had a favorable deal from the shipping lines. In the Material and Transport the Department of ECG, they wrote a letter to the shipping line. Companies now hold containers no port and say, "Ya percent ka enimo edin komona moma ye waiver bi." Now waiver no anke boya me to me clear the containers no. This is a department with ECG. They were trying to take action because they thought to say a can do 2,941 containers and a guo. They wanted to have a negotiation with a shipping line so that the shipping line can meet them halfway for them to be able to ask for some waiver. And as a sobi now to me a clear container no. This is the transport and material for no. They are trying to be proactive. Now, Rebecca say, where is the evidence? I make sure one letter. I have about 20 letters. I have container numbers, but I make sure letters be this is one of the letters they wrote to one of the letters they wrote to the shipping line. In this study, this letter was written on the 18th of October 2024. 18th of October 2024. Technically, almost a month after Dubik Mahama resigning a free infant ECG. So when you read the letter, you will see it. Electricity Company of Ghana, Electro Voltage House. The letter is dated 18th October 2024. Now, when you read, it says the commercial director, Meridian Port Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, Port new for no, no mu hold the containers no, into na ECG for department no, actually letter come say, percent komo mu waiver bi, nanka tumi den, eboa na clear containers no team. So study letter the date now. October 2024, now Afenyo Markin was the board chair. Afenyo Markin became the board chair on July 2024. July 2024, and Afenyo Markin a board chair. Until when this letter was being written to MPS for a waiver, Afenyo Markin was the board chair of the ECG. And that department of ECG, were worried. They really wanted a waiver into a mutual letter. And to remember, this letter, Afenyo Markin should know about it. Unless as a board chair, he wants to come in front of Jakpa and tell the whole Ghana, say, he knew nothing about this letter. And that the letter was written by that department head without consulting the MD and also the board. Into Afenyo Markin should come out and tell us, say, he doesn't know anything about this letter. Now, what is in the letter? Let me read what's in the letter. So the board chair, Ono Afenyo Markin, your letter we no, on an E-Levy board no. Now read the letter now. We respectfully request a waiver of terminal charges accrued on the accrued on the unit attached below, which have overstayed in your terminal. Many of the units were imported as supply inputs for various electrification expansion programs and a stock for critical repair and maintenance. However, due to many reasons impacting on our supply chain, these units have grossly overstayed at the terminal and attracted prohibitive detention charges. I'm sorry, it's very faint. So I'm doing my best to read for you to know what is actually in that letter that that department at ECG wrote to the MPS, the shippers, the Omanobu holding containers. It is our hope and expectation that a 90% waiver will be granted on all accrued charges to enable us to clear the units by the beginning of the week. This letter was written on the 18th of October 2024. Afenyo Markin was the board chair of ECG. And the department that wrote this letter, a department is under the leadership of Mahama, who is the MD, and Afenyo Markin, who is the board chair. Now, into Stadia, all the letter was trying to say, then they say, how much your letter come MPS? Usheni Paul signing a friend, Engineer David B. Asamoah, Managing Director, Acting, Deputy Managing Director, Engineer and Operations, ECG, Director, Materials and Transport, into the head of Materials and Transport, Mr. David B. Asamoah. He actually wrote this letter to MPS, Temaport, to say they need a 90% waiver. Omunyi ekani bebre free sunenka 10%. Na omuntumi enclear containers 2,941 na egu na attracted more cost no. Afenyo Markin was the board chair, Mahama was board chair. The question is, these two people, did they know about this letter? Can they tell us if they had access, they were told about this letter? Does Afenyo Markin know anything about this letter? Does Mahama know anything about this letter? Because this letter was sent to MPS. That's our first document. Afenyo Markin is guilty. And anything I can say, let us all come together. Obwa, the crime, now you can't watch them no. The crime, now you can't watch them no. Afenyo Markin knows everything about this crime. In fact, today in Parliament, he gave you a lot of information. And to remember, this letter, we will publish it, we will let the world know. Afenyo Markin needs to come and tell us whether he knew about this letter as the board chair, and also Mahama, if he also knew about this letter as the MD. We want answers. It's simple as that. Now, when you read the investigation or investigative report, there's something here I want you to look at. Oko number ana point 15. Point 15. Where your page 22 in the report. We will publish it, don't worry. Page 22.15. Mami numusu kakra. Now, point 15. The shipping department began processing the affected containers for clearing and reached the point of payment, but management failed to allocate funds for this exercise. Into him, the department now, omucho letter comma MPS say, 90% waiver no. It is looking like, or it looked like say MPS agreed. Say okay. Say I buying ECG much rubber say more per 90% waiver. We are all working together. And they're more for 90% waiver no. Now more for 10% in Brana. But time Masako management led by who? Led by Mahama, who is the MD, and Afenyo Markin as the board chair, no, they said there's no money. Remember, these are the same people who were giving contract for companies to bring their more containers to the port. When these people were able to negotiate to make sure these containers were cleared, Afenyo Markin and Mahama told the transport and the material department now, who were trying to talk to MPS to say, give us 90% waiver. Near to me, Afenyo Markin and Dubik can say they don't have money. This is the investigative report. They made it sure they will publish it. Until when they went back, Afenyo and then Dubik said there's still no money. Even the 10% now I almost skinny. Now, point 16. Ahana de because my sure document waha ya let waha very important. Afenyo, me say per this document I am showing you he's a criminal. Now, up kind point 16 now. 2 clearing agents. The time now mo catch Ghana for any ECG transport department now almost pay waiver 90%. No, the same time no. 2 clearing agents meet logistics. First, followed by Dawold's Bond Limited, were introduced to the shipping department by the then managing director through the director of materials and transport as companies contracted to clear the UCL. You know what happened? Mahama, that time not the MD, on the Afenyo Markin, they did what? They brought on 2 companies. And companies, Edina me boy, Mint Logistics, and Dawald Bond Limited. Now, sa 2 companies way, and Dubik, introducing ma NPS, hold the containers no port through the transport department of ECG, say these are the 2 shipping companies that can clear the containers from the port. Remember, ECG had gone to NPS to deal directly with NPS to give them a 90% waiver for them to pay and clear. Mahama can say there's no money. Afenyo Markin can say there's no money. But the same Afenyo Markin and Mahama brought 2 companies on board and said, the 2 companies, and a transport department, and for Monko the NPS, no Monko clear containers, Where are these companies coming from? Who are these companies? The ECG has been clearing its containers from the port every week by putting 5 million Ghana cedis aside every week, and nothing happened. Why is it that suddenly the 5 million is not coming again? They have stopped that. They have piled containers at the port. Now they are telling MPS, who are the ones holding the containers, say there are some 2 companies from somewhere. Those companies are the ones who are coming to clear the containers. And can you be Afenyo Markin Chebiano? Monko awo or teshi or sheteshi. Afenyo Markin or sheteshi is here. Awo fio hono or Kwaraminu Afenyo Markin. Now, my men show you see. So, 2 companies. Your friend Baku de Mint Logistics and your friend Baku Dawad Bond. Now, my men show you DB. You bought 2 companies ding. Now, Tiadie. Subsequently, Mint Logistics Limited was awarded a contract to clear 1,110 containers at 160,000 Ghana cedis. First, Omudinkaima Mint Company say Uncle clear 1,110 containers and ECG Chia 160,000 Ghana 160,000, which is Ghana over 16 billion. Edema, sa company way from nowhere say, omunko clear containers no port war. You see, so 2 companies from nowhere have been created, and they are the ones who have been given money by ECG that did not have money to clear their own containers, but they have been able to get 2 companies that they can pay to go and clear containers at the port. The board chair is Afenyo Markin at this point. This is the time. This is the same time around Mahama preparing to leave. He created these 2 companies and left. And then his companies, were the ones coming to clear the port containers. So per container, 1,110 container. But could be almost clearing 160,000 Ghana. Do the math. TNA. So company friend Mint Logistics, Afenyo Markin any Mahama Mama and the contract say containers 110 and 1,110. So company ninko clear. Now each container be an ombetua company 160,000 Ghana per container, per one container, or clear 1,110. Mint company no clear 1,110 containers. Container ba could be a lift free airport or a port will be an omobetua 160,000 Ghana cedis. 160,000 Ghana cedis. All Ghana cedis no the 160,000 old Ghana 160 bill saying container ba could be a company by left to be 1.6 billion old Ghana 1.6 billion. It is a company way every or left 1,110 containers ba could be a 1.6 billion. Or the brand new Ghana na 177.6 million. That company took that money. ECG na only Sca 5 million Ghana to be taking their containers out. You know? They have given one company, Mint company, from nowhere to clear 1,110 companies, 110 containers. Each container be 160,000 Ghana. Or the old Ghana numa 1.6 billion or clear 1,110. O calculate here and the Ghana is 177.6 million. One way Afenyo Markin and Internal catch him say, let us all come together and fight it. He knows he committed this crime as the board chair. Now, now when you go forward, Dawat Bond, now two companies. The second company, Dawat Bond Limited, was also awarded a contract to clear 200 containers in 4 weeks at 115,000. Inti meant the onya 1,110 containers to clear. But could be a bit 160,000. And at Dawad, no, you can't say unclear how many? Unclear 200 containers. Bakubia, Yaman container Bakubia 115,000 Ghana. Old Ghana no 1.1 billion. Container Bakubia. Afenyo Markin, I'm asking, does he know about this as the board chair? Now, Mama Chawa DB. Oh, two companies. Let's pause here. I'm sure the background of the companies. We have gone to dig the companies. Maybe you'll be shocked. Now, let me show you the background of the companies. Mint company in NEA. You see the Mint company? Mint company in NEA. Now, let me show you the details. You'll be shocked. Only say Mint company only 10 workers. Afenyo Markin do big Mahama. We are fucking criminals. They are supposed to be locked up. Okay? Company, no, we decided to dig the companies, those two companies, Mint Logistics and Dawad. Now, this is what we were able to find. Oh, in our next production, we will show the faces of all the owners. We will show the faces of everybody. The company owners. Now, the Mint company in the NEA, Mint, Mint Logistics, 2017, our company, Now, sir, go down and check the details of the company. Let me show you something here. Nipa, omuye company, omundru, omuya 10, just 10. Only 10 people. Now, entity company, edin, oma company, omudini, yawo Rita in 3, director, the pin number or the 10 number. And there was Edward Abuaje, or say a director, or no director waha. Inti company no, it belongs to 2 people. The directors are Rita Intri, or a director, and Edward Abuaje, or no say a director. These are the 2 people. Now, so in detail, now checking the number of workers on what's our company ma. We are 10 pay. The Mint company, the workers are only 10. These documents, we will publish it after the show. In this I'll check here, you can see clearly, they have only 10 workers. It's down there, and they read only 10 workers. Now, so we read the document now. You can see number of employees employed or envisage 10. Revenue envisage 30,000 Ghana. Inti ninyina phone numbers. We will publish this right after the show. Remember when companies now Afenyo Markin do big Mahama came together to create behind the scenes to go find them to come do this job. You know something? They create these companies and keep them in rooms. So they don't do anything with them. They use them when they want to use them. So don't get it wrong. Sometimes you see a company B was created 2017. They create them and they keep them. And sometimes, deal be bad. No more for do you have anybody who has a shipping company? Be a Daho redundant. Also, oh yeah, we have one. Also bring that one. That is what they do. Now we will show the faces of all of these guys. Now, my man show a Dawad company, Nipa send a Juma Dawad. Do you know, say, when we went deep to check this Dawad company, this is the Dawad company. So check here. Company with shares. Company type, private limited. Dawad's Bond Limited Company. Omo air registration number, we will publish everything. Now, you be also 2017 and you be a company way. 2 companies in your in 2017. Yes, they know what they are doing. Now, my mention details kakra company, you'll be shocked. Do you know, say, company where a friend Dawad na omomano 115,000 each container be over left 200 containers are almost by how many nipa mu ye adwuma o sa company mu Dawad company nipa 1 pair. And only one envisage one person. Company omo for nipa ba ko pay adwuma. They envisage to employ only one person. One. But that company has been given a contractor or left container by Kubia or Temapota 115,000 Ghana times 200. 1.5 billion times 200 containers. Afenyo Markin a board chair. He signed this and he agreed. Dubik Mahama and a management MD on a sign here and I'm saying this is good to go. We are talking about billions. We are talking about billions of dollars. This is not a joke. And remember, the question I was asking Afenyo Markin and say, does he know anything about these things? Because from the beginning, ECG told management that they don't have funds to clear containers at the port. Suddenly, ECG has been able to raise 115,000 each for a container. 2 companies, 100 and the container bakubia 160,000, 1.6 billion. So I'm asking, the board chair of ECG, Afenyo Markin, did he know about this? Did he sign it? Does Dubik Mahama, who used to be the MD, did he know about this before stepping away? We are asking simple questions. I am not fighting Afenyo Markin. I want Ghanaians to know who Afenyo Markin is. It is our calculation now. Mint company, they made away with 177.6 million Ghana cedis free. And Dawad for they made away with 23 million Ghana cedis free. 177.6 million Ghana cedis. Over 17 trillion. They made that money free. And Dawad for they made 23 million free. The containers to date, we don't know where they are. They were supposed to clear the containers, but as we speak today, we don't know where all those containers are. Now, when you get to third point fourth, no. That's 1 second. Let me know where we were. No, we are done with this. Yes. Point 19. And don't forget, Napo was the sector minister. Napo was the energy minister. Don't forget to. The minister was Napo. Don't forget, Napo was overseeing all this. Afenyo was the board chair. Now, point 19. The 2 clearing agents started profiling all ECG containers on UCL. Into the 2 companies, they started doing their checks. They started counting the containers. Because Sika be fie. Now, point 20. The committee noted during discussions that in as much as management indicated there were no funds to clear the piled up containers at the port, they awarded contracts to these clearing agents mentioned above and made some payment. Investigators who say upon some management, Dubik Mahama, Afenyo Markin, Mokase, Sikeni Honyinano, they were able to make payment to these 2 companies. 20 million and 177 million. Where did they get the money from? Because if we had not stopped the 5 million that was put in a special shipping account, it was clearing every container that comes quickly, we wouldn't have gotten here. It means somebody deliberately stopped it for the containers to pile up to bring a company to come and clear and make over 200 million Ghana cedis. That is the part we are talking about when a friend creates, loot, and share at the Afenyo Markin, Dubik Mahama at ECG. This is dangerous. These people are not supposed to be staying at home tonight. Say, are you ready to say about corruption? They are supposed to be spending time at BNI office and answering questions. Afenyo Markin or Teshi. Or awo, maybe awo picture about Chremo, or then Koran wrong picture about Chremo. Now, when you read point 20, point 21, this decision of management, unfortunately, rendered the shipping department of ECG almost redundant. It is that decision now, Dubik Muteki from Kaligaja Post time all the way to Afenyo Markin's time. No, that department now, Nanka was a sage man, Anka a good flat. The idea, the plan was to break down that department, and they succeeded because almost starve department, of mania. So sad department in Eii Sca, it is automatically going to collapse. So what they did was that they starved it. They did not give it money. They did not put money in there. The moment that department is shut down, the containers will pile up, and when the containers pile up, they can bring their companies in to come and clear and pay them. That's all. And then Afenyo Markin kind of parliament, because he has an idea. Into it now, we'll come back to TNEA. Listen to him very well.
ECG. I had the privilege of chairing the board in July. Because I'm a businessman, the first question I ask myself is that how can ECG award a contract? And when the contract is awarded, all the person does is deliver at the port, present bill of lading, and request for payment. I said, with the greatest respect, I don't want to use a word. This is Parliament. I was shattered. I said, how? And ECG would have to pay. So I realized that ECG was paying a lot of bills when they've not even had access to the goods. And when you ask them, I asked the procurement manager, director of procurement, a question. I said, why did he say, oh, Chairman, this is the practice since. This is the practice.
He's lying. If that was the practice and you saw that the practice was wrong, as the board chair, what were you supposed to do? He also joined the practice. We were Jimmy or a Cronfort. Per this document I'm reading to you, why call this a practice illegal? What do you do as the board chair? Did you join the practice? Yes. Because if you did not want to join the practice, you would have stopped the practice. But because you are a businessman with the intentions of making billions, you join the practice. So you are guilty, you are a criminal, you need to be questioned, and you need to be jailed. You are a liar. You are a thief. Now, soccer punch, so we do baby. Kevin, now, my uncle page, page 23. This is the investigation report. Investigative reports no my detailed na me dwam Afenyo Markin obegina pale so mo hwe junso gu no ho on kan kore or say NIB jakpa or so mo pick Afenyo app or mo pick the big Mahama app or mo pick Kaligajepo. They need to answer questions, Mr. Mahama. Now let's read this one. I'm in sure DB. Now when you read this page, this is what they basically the findings now. The committee obtained the list of containers from the Director of Materials and Transport of ECG, the Director of Ports, and the manager responsible at the Meridian Port Services MPS terminal at the Tema Port. Inti investigators no ana committee no omukoye and omuko the Director of Material and Transport omukoje the list of containers are Tema Port. And omusako the MPS omu ana omukipi containers no airport as containers are also a bit to abegino, also called J list. That is what the committee and our investigative team know. Now look at what happened next. Now, the committee physically counted the containers and compared them to the list obtained and found various degrees of discrepancies. Say committee need a list every ECG transport ho. How many containers na more port? So you this amount. So far list in my. And call MPS for no. Hold the containers and say you see ECG containers we ha. Na yes saying more far list in my. J list in me no. And gasa call baby a container no. And call kind container nina. And say no. Bibi insi so. Bibi a shifty. A shifty. A dear na shifty. Say numbers na shifty. And see there are some discrepancies. For PZ4, you can say discrepancies are. Not just say and shouldn't see any. BB and shouldn't see any ye. And shouldn't jina BB a yera wom. Just say I should have shifty. Yang you job na menchiro BB. Now, this is what they found. See below the results of the containers counted and the degrees of discrepancies. Say table when a bet show. Kind container no ground no. Any list no mo ECG. Any list no MPS for port no. Chiremo. Hwe physically de mu ye. Now, list of containers obtained. Ghana Port and Harbour no. Na list of the bomb here 1132. Containers are ECG eka chire se no. ECG say 2464. Inti ECG 4 Oko port 4 so 1134. 32. Oba containers are almost obtaining ECG 4 so containers near 2462. Now containers accessed and counted by the committee. ECG 4 can say containers say what port 2462. And a port for Dabi 1132. Now committee ni call ho na one kasa ko kind physically no. Hu say ECG 4 no containers are na ewo ha kasa 2462 no na enye 2462 na 1134. Ghana Port and Harbour 4 eka say containers are sebio ewo mo ho no 1132 kodru na 1134. That means he say the 2 per NFA. Meaning say the port for no car no na no kura kutrodo two containers per NFA omuni so. Nanso ECG for there catch committee so ya 2462 and a port wo committee could do port no na 1134 meaning 1328 containers ayra a new physically a new ho. Do you understand? List every ECG was a container send a port. Say a container a port 2462 and I'm say thank you. And call a shipping company was say ECG 4 containers send and a ECG for a shipping company say I had the port at the ECG 4 on paper the name say containers 1132 and I'm so good. Yani anka say be kind. Kan no who say shipping company nika say 1132. In fact, 1134. Meaning say shipping company no ni for 2 peso. Now, checking ECG for now say containers in kwa ho 2462 no. Who say containers wo na physical kind na 1134. Meaning ECG for short 1328. The 1328 containers away. That is the question our investigators no ebusa. Now, ye mama chira wade MPP Afenyo Markin unnim de ba. Now, point 3, out of the list of 2,462 containers provided by ECG as a number of containers on UCL, a whopping 1,328 could not be accessed by the committee, while 34 were in transit and yet to arrive at the port, as at 31st January 2025, as indicated in the document provided by ECG. Now, neither Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority nor ECG could account for the 1,338 containers at the time of writing this report. Say, busa port for ne say na den na ende I say ECG forecast say 1,134 na waha 2,000 den 334 na waha you do 8,000 port for ne say ECG for numbers some dey amamo no mo boa ye busa ECG for say sa containers no wen sa containers no wen ye ngina ha now don't move enema NDC government led by the energy minister Eka said no, they are going to open investigations and follow the money, follow the containers. Na you start ehun saa nyoma we, you start chichi containers. Ye wie yo, ma mefa we nchira oni ento aso.
So that is what we have over there. So they are in the process of melting all this.
No, but the immediate thing is to stop every movement now.
And we are going this way.
No,
but even Bambude,
all right, so now, but I want everybody to have you. There are many, so we need to. Okay, so this is originally how all the containers came. And you can see how they are sealed in the wooden pellets. Some people manage to break the seals to these containers. Then they removed. So you see, apart the first line, we have one, I can see eight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other 8 or 9. Is it 8?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 8, and then 8 coming all the way to.
Okay, fine. So some quantity have been taken from the top. And there will be only one over there. So this line is gone. And when you open all the containers, you see the same trend. So it means that it was cleverly done by the criminals behind these whole activities. So we just wanted you to have information about this. They are not yet taking the content, but they are cleverly taking some from the top line, top layer. Yes. So they take and they leave the last one over there. When we open the next container, you see the same thing over there. Yes. Yes. So yeah.
remove
the containers no cables na woman na be wiring no omo wia no makonane Afenyo Markin ni ECG omo nane a no masa ton na omo agisika no baby you do the danger point afena me be kire crazy stuff ahu bi da e wo report nim but also bi ati asesa apeke afena apeke na afena ebe piki ye inti fra obi akasa Kevin tell us say obe piki ade no baby a wo yembesew na yedu no me be kire wo baby a wo yembesew the danger in what they have done friend people ni bia na just Kevin tell us say apeke danger point ni yedu no